Our second motion is on Uber, and Uber is something that came to London 3 or 4 years ago. Before then, there was a healthy competition between the black taxi trade and the private hire trade. Since Uber have come to London, the number of licenses granted to Uber drivers and vehicles has mushroomed, and the number of private hire vehicles or drivers has gone up from about 60 or 70,000 to approaching 120,000 today. There are grave concerns about Uber's operating practices. We have had the Mayor actually say in his election campaign, "You can't take shortcuts with Londoners' safety. I'm putting private hire companies like Uber on notice. If I'm elected as Mayor, it will be one strike and you're out. Even if just one of your drivers is found not to have gone through the right checks or not to hold legitimate documentation, then your licence to operate in the capital will be suspended instantly." He said that in 2015. Now, we come to the point today where the Mayor has just renewed Uber's licence for 4 months. I think he should have taken a stronger action a month ago when he did that, because there are grave concerns that Uber drivers do not have the right documentation, particularly on letters of code of conduct letters, the right insurance. There's evidence and allegations that drivers get hire and reward insurance to get their TfL licence, and then as soon as they've got their TfL licence, they swap it to a social and leisure insurance, meaning that they're not properly insured. There are concerns about drivers having dubious medical checks. There's concerns about the congestion and the pollution from so many private hire vehicles. There's concerns about safety, whether drivers driving with an Uber operating licence as their operator actually don't stop and become stationary before they take a job and play around with their mobile phones and their Uber apps to get jobs while they're still on the move. Of course, that's now illegal and highly detrimental to safety. I did ask the Deputy Chair for Transport, Val Shawcross, and the Transport Commissioner, Mike Brown, last week when they were here, how many vehicles and drivers have Uber as their operating licence. I'm still waiting to hear from them, but hopefully they will tell me soon. It's probably a very, very large number. Because of all these concerns, and other concerns as well, such as tax avoidance, the payment processing centre, I believe, is in the Netherlands, and the drivers earning far, far less than the minimum wage overall. The working practices, I believe, are bad for Londoners, they're bad for the drivers, they're bad for pollution, they're bad for safety. We've given Uber enough chances. It's now time to say we've got to put a stop to this, pull the plug, and not give Uber their licence when it comes up for renewal in September, because we need to put Londoners' safety first, and we need to put the welfare of our drivers and passengers first. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblymember Whittle,
yeah,
second motion.
Speak now. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, I'll second this motion. It's getting on for 1 o'clock, so it'll be brief. But totally second what my colleague has said here. Do you know what happens every time in the mayoral elections? You know, talk to any black cab driver about this. You know, basically the candidates suck up to the black cab trade and they criticise Uber. This is exactly what we saw as well this time or last year as well. And basically then nothing is done. I'm looking at this from the point of view of the effect of Uber on the black cab trade, which basically is facing extinction. When it comes to the question of work practices that David has highlighted, it's extraordinary that a Labour mayor wouldn't actually be more conscientious about that sort of issue, but absolutely he certainly should be. But I think the general picture here too is that one of the great trades and one of the safest ways of getting around London one of the most respectable trades, is facing a form, or it's facing actually extinction. It's fighting for its very survival at the moment. This would be a wonderful way of actually helping our 300-year-old black cab industry. We're always saying how much we want to help them, but actually we don't really do very much in the end. It is not always just about money. It really isn't. And the fact is, this is a very good opportunity not only to stand up for Uber drivers who are obviously exploited as well, and also a company that pays very minimal amounts of tax here, but also to protect what we already have and that works so well. Because let's face it, you know, if you were making a cab service for some brand new city now, the sort of cab service you'd have would be the black cab service, actually, not Uber. So I am pleased to second this motion. Thank you.